Life is a waterfall. We're one in the river and one again during the fall. Swimming through the void, we hear the word, we free ourselves and we find it all. 'Cause we are the ones that want to play, always love to go and we always get to stay. And we are the ones that need not choose, always want to play but you never have to lose. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Life is a waterfall, we drink from the river, then we turn around and create our thoughts. Swimming through the void, we hear the word, we free ourselves and we find it all. 'Cause we are the ones that love to play, always love to go and we always get to stay. And we are the ones that need not choose, always get to play but you never have to lose. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels so up high, when you free your mind's eternal prize. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels in the sky, when you free your mind, you free your life. Angels so up high, when you free your mind's eternal prize. Ah, 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 ah,
Hello there everyone, and welcome back to our meditation. Today we're really going to connect with the union within and to the unity we are in God. And first we will slowly come into the meditation through deep breathing. Ensure that your body's in a position that feels relaxed. You may even briefly pause the meditation until you adjust yourself. When you feel completely comfortable, just lie back and allow any tension, any thoughts that aren't of the now just to easily float away as you grow lighter and lighter. Once your mind is clear, just slowly begin to breathe deeply and take a deep breath in for 1, 2, 3. And a slow, long, deep breath out for 1, 2, 3. And do this again, repeating in for 1, 2, 3, and out for 1, 2, 3. And now come into full awareness of your union with all souls. All souls combined are an extension of God and what we call the one child of God. You may even imagine us like a patchwork blanket. All of the unique patches, a mesh of interwoven fabrics, all fitting perfectly together. We are divine in our own right and as one. Together we are stronger, and the realization of our oneness is pure peace and totality. Now gently sink ever more deeply into your heart as you truly embrace the oneness of your creation. And just spend some time connecting with yourself here, as long as you feel guided to. And once you feel that you've received all that God desires to communicate with you here, just begin to wind this meditation back in by breathing deeply, and breathe in for 1, 2, 3, and out again for 1, 2, 3, and on one more occasion, in for 1, 2, 3, and out again for 1, 2, 3. And just begin to feel the bed, the sofa, or the yoga mat beneath you as you ground in the healing and reconnect to your external surroundings. And now gently just open your eyes. Namaste.
Hi, we're Stan and Jana. Welcome to the Church of Union card reading for the Sunday service.
Yeah, we pulled some cards for you, and the card deck that we were using is this one, Whispers of Love by Angela Hartfield. Yeah, so the first card that we pulled for us today is this one. Hope you can see it. It says, ask for help. You see a woman kneeling down in front of a man, a king it looks. Exactly, and more it said on the card, ask for help. What do you really need? Be willing to accept support. Yeah.
What I get from this card is that it's very important that you don't shut off for God and that you're opening the communication channel with God in your heart, but not only with God, also with yourself and the God in others. And when it comes to support, and it's very important that you not only ask God within you to be properly supported, or like to tell God like your needs or your wishes or desires, and know that when you tell God stuff or things that you desire, that He also listens and delivers. And what this also is pointing to, like, you're here in a community. There are a lot of people, also coaches, who are assigned to help you through upsets or like deep things on your twin flame journey. So it's very important to reach out for the level of support that you have all around you, and not only around you, but also very important within you.
Yeah, and definitely always know that God is your source. I feel like that's what that king represents, is God. And you have source within you, but like Stan said, God is not only within you, but in all of us. And it's safe to claim your support and to also receive that already first within, because you have a treasure chest within, and it's just for you to open it and to receive it from God, because your treasures lie within. And like the card said, get clear on what you need and be willing to accept it, be willing to receive support as well within as well as without. Yeah, exactly. The next card that we have is this one, Forgiveness. Beautiful card. It said, nothing is gained by holding on to past disappointments.
Yeah, what I get from that card is that it's very important to really let go of whatever has transpired in the past, or between you and your twin flame, or between you and other people, or even things you think you have done wrong or that was so-called not in alignment with God. And God said to me also yesterday, like, it's very important to not judge yourself, and also not judge anything that happens on your journey. Like, every journey is unique, and know that it's very safe to love yourself. And no matter what you have done or think you have done wrong, that it's safe to meet those parts and to also love them and give them all of the forgiveness that they need, because they're only waiting on your forgiveness, not on forgiveness of other people. You need to liberate yourself, because God has already forgiven you.
Yeah, what I also get from this card that correlates with this one is also a bit humility, like with the card that we had before, realizing you're just God's child and that's enough, and God is your eternal teacher and you are God's eternal student, and so you will be forever in a state of learning and expanding your consciousness and having deeper and deeper realizations about yourself, about God, about what you're really here for to do. And so the appropriate attitude is always easiness, gentleness, and forgiveness with yourself, and to be humble in who you are in God, and to love yourself. Yeah, the other card that we had is this one. Hope you can see it. Love endures, and yeah, a couple on a boat, and it said, love does not give up or lose faith. Love is hopeful and withstands every situation.
Be a little bit higher.
Okay.
So what this card means is that it's very important. This represents like your heart center or your heart space, and you see here in the front like a beautiful couple, that's you and your twin flame, and at the back you see God, who really like supports you and has your back, and like pulls the boat through the ocean. And this means like that you need to fully accept your dreams and your twin flame union as already there,
given
and as received in your heart center, and like let God move you towards wherever you need to go, and let God also come through others towards you, and just stay with God and stay with your good that's with God in your heart. And
yeah, with God you can literally overcome everything, and so you are very equipped and you are very safe wherever you are right now, and also God is your strength, and yeah, you can literally overcome everything because you have the most powerful being on your side and with you and for you. Yeah, and the last card that we have is this one. Yeah, couple kissing themselves, and it said, the union of hearts, a love connection defies explanation.
Yeah, you see there like a beautiful twin flame couple, but this represents what we said in the previous card, like in your heart. It's basically the intertwining or the merging between God, you, and your twin flame, perfectly entangled, or how you want to say it. And like when you fully love yourself, then you also meet your twin flame there, because your twin flame is you, and like you are basically one. And you see here like that image of oneness. That's what you have with God in your heart.
Yeah, what I else got from this card is that it's safe to love. It's safe to love deeply. It's safe to love your twin flame deeply. It's safe to be loved deeply. It's safe to let God's love flow through you wherever God's love is meant to go. And like Shaleia one time said, there's no difference in, like, you don't need to differentiate the love for God and the love for your twin flame, and so you can just love wherever God and love is calling you to love. And it's safe also, what I get from that card as well, from the first one, that's safe to receive love, receive your good, and to have that heaven on earth within. Yeah. Great. So this was today's reading. We enjoyed it very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we wish you a wonderful rest of the Sunday sermon, and take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday service today. My name is Granville Campbell, and it is my honor to introduce the sermon by Lorenzo and Alexandra on the topic of healing the divine masculine and feminine energies. And something that I quite liked was just, again, how they took the time to really simplify the concepts of what it means to be a divine masculine and what it means to be a divine feminine, and how each of those polarities show up and interact with each other, and really how they give and receive from and to each other. And I think the thing that really stood out for me was just the sense of, again, clarifying it and also simplifying it to the extent that it shouldn't be a complicated principle or process, and it also shouldn't be a confusing concept. And I feel like this sermon just helps to very practically make sense of giving from the divine masculine perspective and receiving from the divine feminine perspective, and how each of those in turn fuel the overall picture of the harmonious union. And so the healing that Lorenzo and Alexandra have undertaken in this space and that they're sharing with us in their sermon feels really good to explore from the perspective of it's okay to understand what's really sitting in our consciousness and also to unpack it, but also to create the safety or cultivate the safety that allows us that exploration. And I feel like a lot of the time in our healing, it is really about allowing ourselves safety so that we can explore those things. And for myself, I've also found that it becomes much more comfortable, and I become much more comfortable as I look into those places that I may not have been comfortable to look into before. And to also have compassion in those places where I find things that probably feel a little bit out of alignment. Something that Lorenzo and Alexandra also shared that is also quite a good piece of advice just to embody is to also be compassionate with yourself as you do this, because you are probably going to be meeting parts of yourself that you might not completely have acknowledged before or even allowed to really show up and be present and to take up space. And I think one of the things that I've had to learn on my journey was that it is okay for all of those things and all of those parts of me to take up space. And just in acknowledging that there are parts of yourself that probably require a little bit of refinement makes life much more comfortable, for the reason that you're not looking yourself in the face or in the mirror and going, there's something wrong. It's literally cleaning up your vibration. And I feel like our vibration is probably something that we will continuously refine. And so it's much more comfortable to approach it from the perspective of I am going on a process of refinement as I heal in those spaces, and that it's comfortable. What also stood out for me was just how deep Lorenzo and Alexandra went in just exploring the concepts of giving and receiving, but also exploring them from the perspective of how they impact their overall union and what it actually means for the union where energy is being expended from one person without really being conscious of the fact that it's the energy of your union, that it's the energy of both of you. And so just in their message, it was again just a reminder to find those places where you inadvertently still subscribe to a level of separation, and to really purify your consciousness in that space, to clean up your vibration in the space where there are inadvertent holds of separation on your life, in your union, in just your very own polarity. And I also found that it was quite fitting that as they explored the two sides of this continuum, that it just brings it back together into the perspective that it's actually one continuum. It's not two separate pieces. It's kind of very connected, very much interrelated. And so it just makes so much more sense where we hear the concepts of honoring the energy of your union, honoring the role you have in your union. So yeah, I believe that Lorenzo and Alexandra's sermon today on healing the divine masculine and feminine energies and understanding the truth behind giving and receiving from both of their perspectives makes it just a much more comfortable concept to embrace, but also to understand. And I believe that the understanding will also just allow us to relax a little bit more as we explore who we are, what our role is in our union, and how our union actually impacts life around us. So I'd like to invite you to please sit back and relax and enjoy the sermon by Alexandra and Lorenzo. And I'd also like to invite you to please remember to donate or tithe to the Church of Union's message to the world, so that we can continue to produce the sermons that we're producing, and that we can continue to reach more people on their journey of ascension and their twin flame journey. Thank you again, everybody, for being here, and I will see you at the end of their sermon.
Hello, I'm Laurențiu.
And I am Alexandra.
We are Executive Ministers of Union.
And we are doing today's Sunday service sermon. Let us begin, as always, with our 3 opening ohms and with our opening prayer. You can follow along in your heart or aloud. And now for our opening prayer.
I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I always remain. My mind is my sanctuary where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word.
Today I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, Om. Amen. Welcome to today's Sunday service. We would like to talk to you about the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and receiving and giving. And we decided to talk about this subject and go deeper in this subject because we are going deeper and finding new places within ourselves to heal in our own femininity and masculinity respectively. And I feel like it's always really good to allow yourself to go deeper with your own polarity and choose to embody your polarity in a deeper way. But before we go into our own experience and what we healed, I think it's very important to go over the basics, because this is actually what we do whenever we feel like, oh, I have a receiving block, or I have without Nancy maybe has a giving block. Let's go back to the basics and see what we can do here to support ourselves deeper. And for us, going in deeper into the teachings of union means studying what the teaching says. And there is an entire chapter in Twin Flames Finding Your Ultimate Lover about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So we will just go over some basic points from that particular chapter that helped us deepen in this space in our journey right now. So the first thing to mention, I think it's really important to know this as well, because there's a lot of misconceptions online about this, is that you are 100% your polarity. You're not 50-50, you're not 50-30, you're not anywhere in between. You are either 100% divine feminine or you're either 100% divine masculine. And if you are in the process of discovering what your polarity might be or exploring that polarity deeper, let's see what the book says about what it means to be a divine masculine and what it means to be a divine feminine. So I'm just going to get a book. So we're going to talk about the divine masculine energy first. It's being mentioned in chapter 9, Twin Flames, Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine Complements.
Maybe you should show the book.
I have the old version of the book. I will receive a new version sometime soon as well. So, without further introductions, the masculine energy. So the book says as follows: the masculine energy is a giving, entering energy. It expresses into the feminine from within himself. He desires to express himself lovingly into all he places his attention upon. The masculine is a beautiful complement to the feminine. And now, the feminine, what he says in the book. The feminine energy is a receiving, abundantly overflowing energy. She desires to receive the masculine and encourages the masculine to give more. The more the masculine gives, the more she overflows into him, thus energizing him. These two energies together are incredibly juicy and extremely powerful. They support and encourage one another tremendously. So this is just the basic of the energies, what each and every energy means. And I really love what it says in the book next about what to do as a either feminine or masculine when you experience blocks, and how these energies support each other into healing blocks, whatever the blocks might be. Good. So the book says the following: when the masculine has blocks to loving, the feminine's encouragement can help him return to a place of giving love. When the feminine has blocks to loving, the masculine can help her clear away these blocks by loving her. The communion is a divine miracle and an utterly beautiful creation of God.
Beautiful.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful, and I feel like for something that can create or can be such a, I'm not sure, such a mystery in the world about, what it means to be a feminine, what it means to be masculine, right? The answer truly is so simple, and I love that about these teachings, and I love this about God, because truly the way back to God is really simple. And I think that this is also where we kind of get hung up upon, because the simplest things are maybe the hardest to apply, or can be challenging in the beginning to fully surrender into them, because it's more like a surrendering thing. Good. So now that we have gone over the basics, I feel that it's appropriate to continue with my experience in receiving and having trouble in receiving from my divine masculine, but also the divine masculine in general. And I think one thing that we can talk about briefly before diving into that is that wherever your polarity is, you interact in that way with anybody. So no matter if the divine masculine in my case is my twin flame or any other divine masculine, the interaction would be fairly similar. The only difference between the way that you interact with your twin flame and any other divine masculine, in my case for me, is that I only have a romantic relationship and a romantic exchange with Laurentiu, who is my twin flame, because that's the appropriate way that we have been created. But I do have, like, the dynamic of giving and receiving is similar in a loving way, no matter who the divine masculine is. As long as it's not romantic or sexual. It's same for Laurentiu. As a divine masculine, he gives to all the divine feminines, regardless if it's me or anybody else, but romantically he's committed to me, because it's in his nature to be like this, right? This is the way that we have been created. And one thing that I have noticed within myself is that I was hitting another point where I had struggles in receiving and being open to receiving. And it has been kind of like a constant thing that I personally had to heal here in allowing myself to receive deeper from the divine masculine. And of course, there have been like several hurt points within myself. I was holding on to masculine energy as well, and I had to choose to release it in order to fully allow myself to embrace receiving in a deeper way within myself. And what I wanted to go deeper with here was the fact that when I allowed myself to receive, I think like immediately I felt a sense of freedom, but also a sense of, it's what's happening actually in this relationship with us. Like, we had to like really go and kind of like discover what the issue was between us, so we could like hash it out and heal it. And if like in your twin flame union, if one of you has blocks to giving, if one of you has blocks to receiving, like the divine feminine has blocks to receiving, most probably the divine masculine also has blocks to giving. So therefore, the moment I have chosen to allow myself to receive, there were all of these places where I felt like Laurentiu was not giving to me appropriately, and we had to like really discuss about this and hash it out. And for me, it was a healing of really claiming my worthiness and my value as a divine feminine, to see that I deserve to be treated in a more loving way, right? Because it's not like Laurentiu was treating me badly or anything like that. It was just that there were refinements that we had to do in our relationship in order for us to have like a juicier partnership between us. And for me, I had to acknowledge that I was afraid to receive from him. I was not absolutely not willing to receive from him in particular areas. And it was a fairly challenging thing for me to like, first of all, just recognize this. And then once I think like I recognized this, I was able to like surrender into healing and loving myself in those spaces. And there were like very deep hurts that I had to face in this space in order to be able to go deeper and have like a healthy relationship or a healthier relationship with Laurencio as my masculine, and generally speaking, all masculines, right? And it all came from valuing myself and valuing my role as a divine feminine in our union. Because it doesn't really matter how that looks like on the outside or who does what, because it's not necessarily about how the external look, it's all about how it feels internally. And internally, I wasn't allowing myself to receive. And as I was opening up in this space, I was finally able to relax and see that, kind of how it was explained in the book, that the feminine is like an overflowing energy, that all I needed to do was just allow myself, first of all, to fill myself up again, because it was a place where I was feeling drained and empty, and no matter how much I felt like I loved myself, it was always like a daunting experience, because I felt like I was like running on empty all the time. So it was because I wasn't fully valuing myself, and the fact that in order for me to give to my masculine, for example, back, I had to like receive and overflow in that space. And actually, I had a pattern where I leaked a lot of energy in different situations. Be it like either in like my relationship with Laurencio, be it with relationships with other people. I would actually be in a kind of like masculine state where I would give a lot, and again like leak my energy, because I felt that was the appropriate thing to do for me to be loved. And ultimately, it was a misalignment that I was feeling, where I felt like I had to do something in order to receive love. Like I had to exchange it in a certain way with either the divine masculine or other people, right? But obviously that's not the truth, and it was a little bit challenging and counterintuitive for me to relax in being a feminine and just relax and receive in this space, because it was a place where I felt that I had to go and do and fix things, and I had to I guess repay in one way or another, or equally my receiving as well. And that created a lot of imbalance, like in our union, where one thing can happen is that Laurencio wouldn't feel comfortable to give to me because I was leaking away energy, and it wasn't like a really pleasant experience for him to grow through as well. And it wasn't pleasant to also call each other out on it and be like, hey, I think there is an issue here and we really have to sit down and look at it, right? But this is, I think, the thing that I love the most about Twin Flames, our union, our harmonious union, our marriage. And generally speaking, the relationships that I have within this community is that we are able to sit down and talk about these uncomfortable situations that happen in our life without over dramatizing them, without like seeing them as it's wrong. It's actually like a very normal and natural thing as you go deeper in love, as you claim your harmonious union, as you choose to deepen in your harmonious union, claim your perfect union, that things will come up, right? And this is the purpose of your twin flame, right? It will bring your stuff up to be healed. But I think this is also what's happening within the community, for example, or in volunteer positions, or in talking with different members, is that things will come up for you to look at. And the sooner you allow yourself to embrace that and move through that, you will receive like the golden nugget, like the diamond that is behind all of that challenge. And in my case here, the diamond was really allowing myself to surrender and receive, especially from my masculine, in a deeper way. And that has been very liberating, and as well I am quite a stubborn person, I'm not gonna lie. So I fuss a bit about it. I have compassion with myself. This is what I'm doing. I'm a fussy person. Sometimes I'm stubborn, but as I allow myself to release that as well, it's it comes with great relief, like surrendering into that place of receiving. And do you want to talk about the giving part?
Sure. Yeah, when it comes to giving, like as Alexandra was saying about, for example, when we had that block with me just giving to her and she just giving it somewhere else, I feel like something to point out in that pattern was that she wasn't recognizing that the love that she was having and she was kind of like moving around and what she was doing with it, it wasn't just her, but it was us.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very key point here to see that it's not just one. It's not we're not separate in any point. It's we're together since we're twin flame. We're one. So therefore, if I am to give energy in a space, I'm not just giving just me and just both of us because we're one. There. And I know that when we got clear on that, and kind of Alexandra went through that. Oh, wait. So that's why you didn't feel good about me doing all this stuff because it's our energy here, and then we could respect more our energy into like what we're doing rather than thinking about what will be good for me and what will be good for Alexandra, when that's a bit separated instead of like what's good for us, and seeing that. Yeah, and anyway, even if we are to think about what's good for me, we still have to come from that place of like oneness rather than from a place of separation. And that's a key point to really be able to respect your union's energy, and not just throw it around.
Exactly. And I think like one thing that is even deeper than this is like, besides realizing our oneness in this space deeper, it was also about realizing that this energy does come from God, So therefore it's respecting God in like looking at kind of like the whole picture, like because I wasn't looking at the whole picture. I was like set in a certain direction, and that was like, again, the stubbornness was set in a certain direction, and I just wanted it in a specific way, but I was ignoring looking at the whole picture. So the moment that I kind of allowed myself to take a step back and look at the whole picture, and kind of I had to honestly feel also safe to do that, because one of the things that I feel like I've been like releasing and allowing myself to deepen is that it's realizing that it's not always about me here. And I think there was like this place of like ego in a sense, where I was feeling like, oh, it's all about me, but it's not. Like, it's our union as well, and it's also not just our union, but it's also like our union with God. So it's all of it, right? And when I was able to like release that, because I wasn't feeling safe, I had to like really love myself in this space and have compassion for myself to really, be able to take a step back and look at the whole picture. And when I did that, it was, oh, okay, I see. And it was like actually like a really simple switch, I feel. But having arrived, the road to arriving at that simple switch was a bit challenging, because I had to offer myself the safety to open up and be able to face that place. And I think most of all, realizing that I wouldn't be judged or criticized for whatever pattern would come out of this, right? Because I feel like sometimes when we're doing healing, we tend to maybe over dramatize or, think that our upsets are bigger than they are. Let's put it like that. That's something that I know, like I'm doing, and I'm working out of it. But the upsets are not really that big. Like, God has a simple solution for each and every issue that you're facing. You just have to be able to, again, kind of receive it. And I wasn't able to receive it because I was feeding a lot of energy into this. Oh my God, this mountain is so big that I cannot like overcome it, right? When it wasn't really the case. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that there aren't really challenging things to move through. But, again, when you connect with God and you allow kind of God to move through you, and you choose to listen to God and truly listen to God, not like pretend listen to God, but really listen to God, the answer is simple. And you do have to have patience and perseverance in kind of being like a dog with a bone when it comes to this. Like, really, be present in that space until you have that aha moment.
Yep.
Yep.
And just to go back about giving and just sharing more about that, I know that a lot of times I've experienced in the past being afraid to give to Alexandra, and there was from different reasons. I had traumas about that. I had a lot of trauma personally about giving and being forced to give as a child, by my parents, by my mother, especially when it comes to my mother. I feel like in my relationship with my mother, I had a lot of being forced and how I seen my mother interact with my father. So therefore, it came with a lot of fear about that because I did had a trauma that was kind of keep coming, and like I was able to finally heal a while ago about how my parents were interacting, and all this time I was seeing a situation with my parents where I thought that my mother was at fault. It was her fault that my father wasn't providing her everything that she wanted. And I really had to go through that experience and heal, like really map myself, since I'm a map practitioner, and heal that trauma where I was able to finally realize that in that situation I was seeing the situation incorrectly. It wasn't really like that in that certain situation that my mother was at fault. Of course, she had her fault there, but what was actually happening, it was that my father wasn't giving to her, and my mother was deprived of like energy, and then she was asking my father to give her, and he wouldn't want to unless she would cause a trauma or not trauma, a drama, and she would say that she would leave. And I know that that was something that once I healed, I did realize that I did had previously. I was working from this space where I thought that the divine feminine, in my case, with Alexandra, she would try to abuse me for my energy. When in case it was just me reliving that trauma when I saw my parents going through that experience. And once I heal it, I was able to see, oh no, like I can give to Alexandra freely. It's safe to give. Because it's a bit, it's not normal for you to feel afraid to give to, as a divine feminine, to give, as a divine masculine, to give to divine feminine. Like it's not normal to feel afraid about that.
Or natural, let's say natural.
Yeah. And it should be normal to be able to give to your woman as a man. And I was really happy, and I feel like since then we were able to really have a lot more peace in our union when it comes to giving and receiving, because there are blocks that come about giving and receiving, but usually when you have something a bit more, a pattern that's a bit more, I know, kind of like stops you from really like working normally as intended, there might be certainly some kind of traumas that there is to move through about what happened, that kind of rewrites or rewrote your uh, natural way of being. And once it's healed, you can come actually be in a natural state.
Exactly. And I think this is why it's really important. Mind alignment process, if you ever feel stuck, because this was a place in our union when we really felt stuck, and we chimed at it, like we did a mirror exercise, we healed through it, we did everything that we could, but that feeling of stuckness or that feeling of something is still quite not right and I don't understand what, as we went deeper, we were able to cultivate that safety within ourselves to like face these traumatic experiences and be able to heal them. And this is why, again, mind alignment process is a really good support system for you in case you are dealing with something similar. And I think I want to raise awareness about this, about sexual trauma. And I revisited watching Jeff and Shania's video about their sexual trauma healing. And it was really healing to be present and just allow myself to go into these spaces again and see, okay, how do I feel in this space? And make just new choices clean myself up. And I think like what one thing that I want to encourage everybody here to be mindful of here is that your experience matters. And if you feel something is off, allow yourself to explore it. One of the greatest enemies that I have encountered within myself about healing, especially in these traumatic experiences, was uh, kind of gaslighting myself that it didn't happen, or simply not feeling safe enough to open up and see what actually happened. And I would encourage you to have compassion with yourself and move at your own pace, and know that if you're facing such places within yourself, it's safe to support yourself, it's safe to have compassion, it's safe to be gentle, and it's safe to cultivate that environment for yourself in order to move through whatever comes up in this situation for you, right? So again, allow yourself to support yourself. You're not alone. I think everybody unfortunately moves through traumas like this. It is the nature of how we've been raised. And yeah, if you have had the luck of a very loving family where you had no issues, then I salute you. But yeah, if you did have a troublesome childhood, it is safe to heal and move through whatever is coming up, so you can cultivate a different life for yourself first, and your union, your relationships, and your life in general, right? Because in order for us to cultivate a deeper life, a higher life, we have to act differently than what we have been taught by society or by our families. And this is the process. You have to look back and see and realign and make new choices, and especially act differently.
Yeah, and like in this way, you're able to have a more harmonious relationship, because that's what we're taught in the teaching of union. Really heal and come closer to God. And this way, you're able to love each other better as twin flames.
Exactly. And not only as twin flames, but I think like in your relationship with the other polarity in general, and also just relaxing in your own polarity deeper. So I think this is all that we have to share for today. Thank you everybody for joining, and let us conclude with our closing prayer and our closing ohms. Again, you can follow along in your heart or aloud.
Father, I accept your word into my heart. I'll honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me clarity of this teaching of union, that I may be forever in union with you.
I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word, and will share your teachings with him in any way you ask, and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Om, Amen.
Speaking this prayer in your heart means that you have accepted that you are on a path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teaching of union with God wherever you find them, and purify your consciousness into perfect union with your Creator.
And now for our 3 closing ohms. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.
Hello again, everybody, and thank you again for being here. I hope that you enjoyed the sermon by Lorenzo and Alexandra on healing the divine masculine and feminine energies, and also how giving and receiving really does play a significant role in the very polarity of each of those entities, for lack of a better phrase. And so, just again to reiterate that I believe that they've given us a lot to ponder over this week and to just explore and to allow ourselves the freedom to explore in those spaces. And something that really stands out for me that I'd also like to reiterate is just the message to cultivate the safety for yourself, to explore in these spaces and to explore your healing and to undertake your healing. And I feel like safety has become quite a strong spiritual, emotional, and psychological concept. And so it is very important in my mind, and I think in most people's minds, that cultivating that level of safety is just going to allow a much more comfortable journey and a much more comfortable experience of the healing and ascension journey. So thank you again for being here today. I'd also like to invite you to visit our unionism.org page, where you will find all our past sermons, music, and meditations and card readings. You will also be able to donate or tithe to contribute to the Church of Union's message to the world. We'd also like to invite you to like and subscribe to our Church of Union YouTube channel, where you will find all our previous conversations, live conversations that have happened in our Unionism Spiritual Discussion group on Facebook. Also, directly after the Sunday service, we'd like to invite you to our after church tea time, which is a live discussion by a panel of unionists on today's sermon and their takeaways and learnings. And you will also find that on our Unionism Spiritual Discussion group on Facebook. Thank you again for being here, and have a great rest of your day.